Hello, this is the Blimey Cow YouTuber, and welcome back to another video. And today we'll be watching Messy Mondays: The Problem with Christian Bands. Yeah. I guess I'll just go ahead and get into this.
Oh, hey, sorry, I was just trying to decide if the band I'm listening to is Christian or not. See, they...
I mean, okay, so are you talking about like bands that make Christian music, or bands that make music, the members of whom are Christian? Um, Now, obviously, if it is the latter, their music should reflect in some way, even if it's not like overdone. But if it is the former, then there shouldn't be any question. So I'm not sure. What I'm saying is I'm not sure what you mean by Christian bands.
They mention God in the thank yous and the CD booklet, but they never actually mention his name in the songs.
That um seems a bit backwards. A lot of, in my experience, a lot of songs will um talk about God, at least um briefly and or tangentially, um and then the artists won't make mention of God elsewhere, um almost as if God is just something they put in the song to either make it sell or as filler. Um, if they're putting it in the thank yous and the the whatever the album thingy cover, um, then I'd say you're probably looking at a band, the members of whom are Christian, um, and but again, not overpoweringly so in their actual product.
I mean, they say you a lot, but I can't figure out if they're talking about their girlfriends or if they're talking about God. Oh man, they just did an interview with Relevant Magazine where they said that they don't want to be labeled a Christian band because they don't want to be put in a box.
Okay, now you did that, and then you've that's apostasy. I mean, there's no coming back from that. Once you say that you don't want to be put in a box for your faith, um, to be a Christian is to be put in a box. Okay, I mean, there's not really any getting around it. Um, yeah.
Please don't tell my mommy. Is it just me, or do we spend too much time trying to figure out if things are Christian or not? I mean, Christian bands? Bands don't have souls. DC Talk didn't go to heaven when it died. A band is just a thing. It's a name for a group of people that decide to get together and make some music. Oh, hey Josh, I am starving. Do you want to grab some lunch?
Is our lunch Christian?
What?
If you go to Chick-fil-A,
Are we gonna have a Christian lunch?
I mean, I guess we can talk about Jesus while we're...
Alright, that sounds good as long as it's the only thing we talk about. I'll meet you at Blimey Burgers in 30 minutes.
Blimey Burgers. I guess that's where you go when Chick-fil-A sells out to the SPLC.
The place where Blimey cows go to die. But see what I mean? How can lunch be Christian? Jesus didn't die for the delicious lunch that Josh and I are gonna eat. A cow did. And Jesus didn't die for bands either. Alright, boys, by unanimous vote, the band's name is gonna be called the Bruise Boys. Thanks, Rick. Alright, next order of business. Are we gonna be a Christian band or not?
With a name like Booze Boys, I'm gonna guess not. Not that like there's anything inherently unchristian about alcohol and or drinking every once in a while, but if that's like a thing, then that's probably not a good thing.
My point is that we should stop looking up to these bands like they're perfect. They're regular messed up people that don't have it figured out, just like you and me. Just start listening to every new band, assuming that they're not the knights in shining armor that you want them to be.
This coming from the guy who made a video titled Listen to God's Chosen, encouraging everyone to listen to his favorite band at the time, which he declared to be God's chosen band. I'm not really sure what ended up happening with that. Maybe they broke up and that's why he's making this video. He's like, oh, turns out I was retarded. I don't know.
That way, when you find out that they're not the second coming of Jesus, you aren't completely betrayed. Oh man, I'm so excited that this new Guards of Hasty has come out. They're like my favorite Christian band of all time. Let's take a listen, shall we? Oh man, this is so good. Oh, wait a minute, what did he say? He didn't say that. Wait.
That is a wow. That is a wow album. Wow. It's been a while since I've seen one of those. In case you're not in the know, wow was and or maybe still is a like annual worship conglomeration CD thing. They'd make them every year and it'd be like the biggest worship songs that year. So yeah, I'm going to guess that whatever bad word he thought he heard isn't actually on that book thing. I still don't even know what those are called. Album cover, CD, lyrics, notepad thing.
The D word! No! Same goes for movie stars and athletes, except for the almighty TiVo, of course. What?
Okay, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like, even the Beatles were considered at one point a Christian band. I don't really know much about the Beatles. I mean, there's like one or two songs that they've made that I enjoy. But considering they're the band that came up with the single worst piece of musical garbage in the last century, imagine, I'd say that they ultimately did not end up living up to their earlier reputation as a Christian band. And like he said, same goes for other things, people, celebrities, individuals.
Life is just simpler going into it assuming that celebrities aren't worth looking up to. That way, instead of being disappointed 99% of the time, you'll be pleasantly surprised 1% of the time. Well, Jordan, I'm not asking if the band is Christian, I'm asking if the people in the band are Christians. Well, okay, that's fine, but what I'm saying is if you even have to ask that question in the first place, that speaks volumes. I mean, if you're a Christian and I spend the whole day with you and can't tell that you're a Christian or not, you're doing it wrong. And I'm not saying you should be like, hi, I'm a Christian. Can you tell that I'm a Christian? Because I'm very obviously a Christian. You want to come to my Bible study on Tuesday? I'm just saying, even if I'm completely oblivious, I should notice some kind of difference. But don't think...
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, and it depends on a lot of things. How clearly that comes across. If you just, like, your personality, you don't with other people, then it might come across more slowly. But yeah, but his point about that being the case with bands, now again, I don't think good music is limited to being able to be made only by true Christians. I think if someone is not if someone is making music that is not in your face Christianly, but still has underlying Christian values and whatnot, I would imagine a non-Christian could make that just as well, particularly if they're trying to market to a largely Christian audience. And aside from actually things you would get from listening to their music, a lot of people like passively follow musicians and or bands and wouldn't know squat about the personal lives of those involved. I mean, if I think of musicians that I listen to, I can typically tell what I think their walk with God to be, though I can't, but I can get a good idea from their music alone. But I don't generally follow their personal lives like at all. So I wouldn't have those other indicators. And I imagine a lot of people are like that. And, like, of course, I want to think that they're Christian. But, it's not like it's a question I have one way or the other in my head. I don't know if any of that got across, but I think I said what I was trying to say.
I think that I'm saying that makes modern worship music the best because it's the most obvious. Don't burn me at the stake for this, but modern worship lyrics feels a lot like this to me. I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian. It's just the same 3-word chorus over and over. Tell you what, go out and listen to the lyrics of Be Thou My Vision or It Is Well With My Soul, and then go out and listen to any modern worship song, and then compare the two. Does this...
I think, let me just pause because I think I have the perfect meme for this right here. Okay, and I found it. So traditional worship, riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou my inheritance now and always, thou and thou only, first in my heart, King, High King of heaven, my treasure thou art. And then it says, modern hypno chant rock, give me smooches, daddy god times 100,000. Yeah, I mean, this is a point I've been making all my life essentially. I really could care less for most contemporary worship, particularly compared to a lot of old hymns and stuff. Now, obviously, that's a straw man, and you'd be hard pressed to find an actual song that's literally that bad. But the point still stands that the comparison can be made at all says something. Anyways, though, let's just get right back into this.
Seem like we're going in the wrong direction to anyone else? It's the same principle as DC Talk versus any current Christian band. The old stuff is always better. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't freak out about whether the band is a Christian band or Christians in a band or whatever. They're just people like you. They make music and mistakes. You know, on second thought, maybe I shouldn't explain the message of this video so explicitly. This is a Christian video after all. No explicit content here. Alright boys, since we decided we're not gonna be a Christian band, we need to decide how many FPMs we're gonna have in our songs.
F-bombs per minute.
F-bombs per minute.
How about don't? I mean, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Let's get to the comment section. Okay, so Merc at Arms says, when Switchfoot was asked, why aren't you a Christian band, this was the answer. To be honest, this question grieves me much because I feel that represents a much bigger issue than simply a couple SF tunes. In true Socratic form, let me ask you a few questions. Does Lewis or Tolkien mention Christ in any of their fictional series? Are Bach's sonatas Christian? What is more Christ-like? Feeding the poor, making furniture, cleaning bathrooms, or painting a sunset? There is a schism between the sacred and secular in all of our modern minds. The view that a pastor is more Christian than a girls' volleyball coach is flawed and heretical. The stance that a worship leader is more spiritual than a janitor is condescending and flawed. These different callings and purposes further demonstrate God's sovereignty. Many songs are worthy of being written. Switchfoot will write some. Keith Green, Bach, and perhaps yourself have written others. Some of these songs are about redemption, others about the sunrise, others about nothing in particular, written for the simple joy of music. None of these songs has been born again, and to that end there is no such thing as Christian music. No, Christ didn't come and die for my songs, he came for me. Yes, my songs are part of my life, but judging from scripture I can only conclude that our God is much more interested in how I treat the poor and the broken and the hungry than the personal pronouns I use when I sing. I'm a believer. Many of the songs talk about this belief. An obligation to say this or do that does not sound like the glorious freedom that Christ died to afford me. I have an obligation, however, a debt that cannot be settled by my lyrical decisions. My life will be judged by my obedience, not my ability to confine my lyrics to this box or that. we all have a different calling. Switchfoot is trying to be obedient to who we are called to be. We are not trying to be Audio A or U2 or Pod or Bach. We're trying to be Switchfoot. You see, a song that has the words Jesus Christ is no more or less Christian than an instrumental piece. I've heard lots of people say Jesus Christ, and they weren't talking about their Redeemer. You see, Jesus didn't die for any of my tunes, so there is no hierarchy of life or songs or occupation, only obedience. We have a call to take up our cross and follow. We can be sure that these roads will be different for all of us. Just as you have one body and every part has a different function, so in Christ we who are many form one body, and each of us belongs to all the others. Please be slow to judge brothers who have a different calling. I think that is essentially a decent response to this situation. Am I? Let me see. What am I trying to say? Do I think more is in order? Maybe. I think there is definitely a distinction um, in working clerical positions than in working lay positions, and that's not to say that one is better than the other. I would say that a being a pastor is a Christian job in a way that being a janitor is not. Namely that if there was a janitor who was a non-Christian and uh, obviously so, that would not be as big a deal as if there was a pastor that was the same. That doesn't mean that one job is better, it just means that they're different, and it does mean that one is more Christian than the other necessarily, but it doesn't mean that they can't be both filled by equally Christian individuals. But yeah, whatever. Go see some other comments. Okay, so I know I said I'd find some more comments, but that last one I think about summed it up good enough, and I also didn't generally care for most of the other comments there, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.